guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this skirt into a cute Reformation inspired skirt. Well, it looks just like a Reformation skirt because we're awesome. Alright, so this is where we're going to start with. My skirt is a little tight on me still. It's big, but it's still tight. And I'm showing you right here that I'm not going to have enough to overlap to make the button placket part. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off some from the bottom to make the little placket part at the side. You'll see what I mean as we're going forward. Alright? Typical mini length is 15 inches down. So once it covers the butt, you should be good. That's my butt right there. And that's where it is. And then bend over, you can't say anything. Alright? Alright, so I measured where I put the pin and that was like 14 inches. But then the pin had the skirt a little like hitched up. So I just made it 15 inches and then I went down from the 15 inch mark 1.5. So overall the length is 16.5. That 1 inch will be the hem because we're going to have a nice thick hem. As you can see here, after I pulled out the pin, it actually made the skirt longer, so I had to redo the 15 inch mark and the 16.5 inch mark. At this point I just measured from the bottom how much ever was left back, so like as you can see what I'm doing. So I just made sure it was equal all around and I did it at the front and the back and then I cut it off. So I measured about 3.5 to 3 inches away from the side seam, the left side seam, and I just drew a line straight down. Okay, so I did one long one, which is going to be the seam, and this is going to be like the little seam allowance parts of the other ones. So we're going to cut this down the center, and I hope I'm doing this right, because after cutting down that line, I went to the waistband and I removed probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of the waistband from the top. So you can see what I'm doing here. And then my waistband had a top stitch at the very top of it. So I removed the same amount, 1 to 1.5 inches of that top stitch. We're going to put them back in later, but we need this part to be open so that we can add the facing for the buttons and the buttonholes. Alright, I put a paper inside the skirt so you can see that that's the front and the back is underneath the paper. Okay, so this is the hem of the skirt that we had cut off to make it super short. So we're just going to measure it up against the skirt and we're going to make this a facing. So I think I did it about, let me see, 1.5 inches wide and however long the skirt was. And I did 2 strips of that, one for the left side and one for the right side. And then I'm just going to use the 1/4 inch seam allowance, that, you know, the lines that I drew before, the 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to just stitch that. Oh no, before that I put interfacing on it. So I ironed interfacing on the strips just to make it nice and sturdy, and then right here I pinned it to the front of the skirt and I stitched it down like 1/4 inch seam allowance, yeah. Remember to do it right sides facing, so the interfacing part should be facing you and the cloth part should be facing the right side of the other skirt. Okay, so of the other skirt? Of the actual skirt. Okay, so we're going to stitch that and that. Okay, so I stitched it onto this and then I put a little edge stitch there going down. So now we just fold it over like here. And we have to take out some more of this basting here. So, right, you just fold it over. Okay, so I folded the facing inwards so that it's on the inside of the skirt and so you can't see the seam. And then I pinned the top part so it didn't move. And I went to the bottom and I pinned that too, just so that the fold is nice and straight. Alright, you did that to the other side, and then I actually went to the sewing machine and I stitched the top part so that it didn't move. I didn't do the bottom part because that bottom part we're going to need it to be open so we can do the hem. So now we're going to place the waistband directly over it, and yes, there's going to be an overlap. We're just going to mark where the overlap starts, and we're going to get the waistband. Remember, we took out the top stitch, so then we're going to fold it. As you can see, I'm folding it right here like this. So we're going to fold it so right sides are facing, and with that little bit that we just marked, we're actually going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch a straight line up and down. This is how it looks sewn. I just trimmed it a little closer to the stitch, and then I trimmed off the direct corner so it's nice and sharp at the top. And then I flipped it right back out so the right side is out, as you can see, and it should be nice and fitted, and it should be a nice straight line going down towards the facing. See? So you really shouldn't see like a difference. So now you have your new waistband. So what I did was I top stitched it onto the skirt part, and I give it like the top stitch that was there before so that it didn't look like we did anything different. See, it doesn't look like we like took it off and just like completely deconstructed it. Because our buttons are going to be completely functional, I decided to remove the zip part from the back, and I just removed it as well as the button. And when that was done, I just flipped it inside out and I just drew a straight line. Well, it wasn't completely straight, it had like a slight shape to it, but a line straight down from the back. You're going to see me drawing it right here. And then this is with the zipper completely out and the waistband out. And then I just stitched that up, stitched the waistband together, and that was done. Like, that was too easy. Anyway, so back to the front. What am I doing? Oh, I'm marking where the 1.5 hem was before, so I'm marking it like that. And then we're gonna fold it so the right sides are facing again. So that's the front of the skirt. Right, so we are going to flip it so the right sides are facing again and the interfacing is facing up like that. And we are actually going to do a little, oh, I'm pinning it first, but then we're going to do a stitch, a straight stitch at the 1.5 mark. This is it stitched, and we're literally just going to scoot it inside, like literally just scoot it inside, like chuck it inside, that you're doing, putting like a sock in another sock. And look how neat that is. Isn't that like a neat trick? Like, it has that facing and the hem looking so neat. Yeah. Right now, I just measured the length of the skirt, and then I got the amount of buttons that I'm using, which is like 6. And I divided, you know, how much, like 15 by 6. And I just like marked them on the skirt, and then I stitched them. Yay. One came a little wonky, so I have to do that one over. But then I got the other side of the skirt where the buttonholes are going to be, and I just like guesstimated where the buttonholes will be. So like I did like little pin marks, as you can see here. My machine has this buttonhole foot that when you put the buttons in the foot, it actually does, no, it actually does the buttonholes for you, the length it's supposed to be and everything. So yeah, for that. But then so that I make sure that it's straight going across, I actually used some chalk and I made sure it's like straight and not wonky, because sometimes when I don't do this, it can come out slightly diagonal and then I have to do it all over again. So this is me just making sure it's straight going across, so that when I'm putting it in the sewing machine, it's nice and straight. Oh, and I started it about a 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. This is the buttonholes, and now I'm using a seam ripper to put the holes in the buttonholes, and then I'm going to show y'all an example of this sexy little button in the buttonhole. Look at this, look at this. Okay, come on, get it through. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so now we're just gonna hem it and we're done. I also stitched up the side seams a little bit, because of course you know my waist was a little big, so I just got the side seams, and y'all know how to take in the waist. I just like stitched it up and hemmed it, and it's done. Look how neat that is. I did a blind stitch for the hem and it's done. Let me know what y'all guys think in the comments. Thank you.